Hello, everyone. This is the Fall River Reporter, September 4th, 2024. The first story is, most incumbents cruise in Massachusetts primaries. Deaton to face Warren. B.J. McDonald wins re-election for Register of Deeds. By the State House News Service, Chris Lisinski. Cryptocurrency attorney John Deaton secured his spot in the contest against U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren. Voters picked at least 6 new state lawmakers, and ballots were still being counted hours after polls closed in Tuesday's state primaries. Only a handful of races up and down the ballot featured any kind of contest, and the results largely favored sitting incumbents, though one veteran House Democrat might be headed for a loss. At the top of the Republican ticket, voters picked Deaton, a U.S. Marine and cryptocurrency lawyer, to challenge Warren in November. Deaton, who moved from Rhode Island to Massachusetts in January and approached the Mass GOP about the prospect of running against Warren, defeated fellow Republicans Ian Cain and Robert Antonellis in a 3-way primary. The Associated Press called the race for Deaton at 8:42 p.m. He touted himself as a small government, fiscally conservative, socially moderate Republican, roughly similar to the approach deployed by some other Massachusetts Republicans like former Governor Charlie Baker. Deaton also wrote a memoir, Food Stamp Warrior, about his experiences growing up impoverished in Detroit. Tomorrow, we begin the next phase of the campaign, an effort that will hold Elizabeth Warren accountable for her failures on the border, the unaffordable cost of supporting a family, a broken healthcare system, abandoning our ally Israel, and restoring faith in our politics, Deaton said Tuesday night. Voters are turning their back on divisive partisan politics and are ready to support a message of optimism, unity, and solving problems. Warren did not face an opponent of her own as she seeks a third term. 6 years ago, she swept past Republican challenger Jeff Deal by 24 points, then ran a short, unsuccessful primary campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020. Even if every State House and Senate incumbent running for re-election cruises to victory, voters will still effectively pick half a dozen new state lawmakers in open districts Tuesday with no Republicans on the ballot. One of these is Newton's George Schwartz, who topped a 3-way primary to succeed Representative Ruth Balzer, according to the AP. Schwartz is a medical doctor, according to his campaign. He'd become the only one in the legislature and former Newton city councilor. Among his many policy positions, Schwartz said he would support banning private equity ownership of hospitals and medical groups, back a local option real estate transfer tax, and advocate for fully funding the MBTA so that we stop kicking the can down the road. He defeated current city councilors Rick Lipoff and Bill Humphrey and projects to be the only candidate on the ballot in November. Another new de facto representative-elect is Seth Reed of Lynn, who beat Hong Net, also of Lynn. That north of Boston district is represented today by Representative Peter Campano, who is not seeking re-election. Reed is a member of the Lynn School Committee, and he works as a legislative director for Lynn Senator Brendan Crichton. His campaign priorities include housing and public transit, climate and coastal resilience, and education. Amy Ma Sangalo bested Alexander Jablin in a Newton versus Newton Democratic primary to succeed Representative Kay Cann, who is retiring 29 years after joining the House. Sangalo will match up against Republican Władysław Janowski in November in a district that has not crowned a GOP winner since sometime before 1970. Out in the southernmost corner of the state, Democrat Lee Davis of Great Barrington declared victory in a crowded primary to succeed outgoing Representative Smitty Pagnoletta, according to Josh Landis of WAMC. She'll go on to face unenrolled candidate Mary Beth Mitz of Lenox in this general election. Continuing a long-running tradition, most voters did not have any choices to make Tuesday. Only 26 of 160 House districts and 6 of 40 Senate districts saw a contested primary in either major political party, even though all 200 districts are up for re-election every 2 years, allowing most incumbents to sleepwalk into re-election. Some Democrats who did not have primary opponents will face Republicans in November, though even taking that into account, a majority of districts still have no competition. Mass GOP Chair Amy Carnival said Tuesday her party's candidates would restore much-needed common sense to the legislature. The Democrats are reeling as their policies have led to the largest immigration crisis in Massachusetts history. The Commonwealth is less affordable than ever. Residents are leaving in droves, and our legislature remains one of the least transparent in the nation, Carnival said in a statement. Most sitting lawmakers who did face opponents appeared to fare well on Tuesday, but a high-profile upset could be brewing in Cambridge. Just after 10:45, the Globe's Samantha Gross reported that graduate student and organizer Evan McKay declared victory over six-term incumbent Representative Marjorie Decker. McKay campaigned pointedly against the legislature's status quo in which power is centralized among a few Democrats. Many decisions are made behind closed doors, and the public and some lawmakers receive little notice about upcoming votes. The race had not been officially called as of 11 p.m. Representative Eric Uterhoven, a Somerville Democrat who is one of the legislature's most progressive members, effectively locked up a third term by defeating fellow Somerville resident Kathleen Hornby. No Republicans nor unenrolled candidates are on the ballot. Senator Adam Gomez of Springfield, who in the days leading up to the primary touted an endorsement from Governor Maura Healey, also won his primary against Springfield's Maylo Brown. His colleague, Senator Mark Montigny of New Bedford, similarly fended off a challenge from Molly Keavy, AP results show. Incumbent B.J. McDonald also beat Christopher Serrera to help the Fall River Register of Deeds post. Turnout figures to be a bit of a paradox, at least depending on the metrics used to rate it. Secretary of State William Galvin last week's forecast more than 500,000 votes will be cast in Democratic primaries and another 250,000 in Republican primaries, which would be a turnout rate of close to 15%. That's far lower than general elections, which in recent presidential years have surpassed 70% and significantly below the 36.5% turnout in 2020's primaries, but would also be much higher than the 8.8% in 2016 and the 12.4% in 2012, two other recent comparable years. Many voters continue to take advantage of the ability to cast their ballots by mail, with more than 468,000 having done so by 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Crime story. Man arrested after missing 37-year-old Massachusetts woman found deceased. Karis Flaz Burgos, 37, of Lawrence, was found deceased Tuesday evening at a wooded area near Canosa Lake in Haverhill, and authorities have arrested Kristen Montero, 35, of Lawrence, in connection to her death. The body of Flaz Burgos, a mother of two, was located by a Massachusetts State Police trooper accompanied by a canine and air wing unit. after notifying the family of Carol Flasburgos, Essex County District Attorney Paul F. Tucker, Lawrence Police Chief Melix Bonilla, and Haverhill Police Chief Robert Pistone made the announcement at a press conference last night at the Lawrence Police Department. Flasburgos was reported missing on August 31st when Lawrence police began the search, soon followed by Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to Tucker's office, Haverhill Police and Methuen Police. Montero, who lived in the same building as Flasburgos, was arrested yesterday afternoon by Lawrence police. At this time, we have a suspect in custody on a charge of witness intimidation and misleading an investigation, Tucker said of Montero's arrest. When the medical examiner's office completes their autopsy, which may occur in the next 24 to 48 hours, we expect the charge will be upgraded to murder. We offer our condolences to the family, said Bonilla. This is not the outcome that we're looking for, and we are sad for this loss. It is a tough day for the city of Lawrence, said Lawrence Mayor Brian A. DePena. It is not easy for the family of the community, but we thank everyone for working together. Montero will be arraigned in Lawrence District Court Wednesday at a time yet to be determined. Up next, Massachusetts Dominican national who illegally re-entered at least 5 times and charged on numerous occasions, sentenced to prison. September 4th, 2024. Boston. An unlawfully present 50-year-old Dominican national apprehended by Enforcement and Removal Operations Boston has been sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for unlawfully re-entering the United States after removal. Felix Renando Nunez Guerrero received the 30-month federal prison sentence July 15th at the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts. Felix Renando Nunez Guerrero has repeatedly, unlawfully entered the United States and broken our laws, said ERO Boston Field Officer Director Todd M. Lyons. His blatant disregard for public safety has proven him to be a significant threat to the Massachusetts community. ERO Boston will continue to prioritize the welfare of our residents by aggressively apprehending and removing the most egregious non-citizen offenders. U.S. Border Patrol arrested Nunez September 7, 1999, after he unlawfully entered the United States near El Paso, Texas. Border Patrol officials served Nunez a notice to appear before a Department of Justice immigration judge and turned custody of Nunez over to the Immigration and Naturalization Service. The Immigration and Natural Service released Nunez from custody October 15, 1999 on bond. On October 20th, 2000, a Department of Justice immigration judge in Boston ordered Nunez removed from the United States to the Dominican Republic. Between October 30th, 2008 and December 27, 2019, authorities arrested Nunez on numerous occasions and convicted him of intimidation, twice giving false addresses with the intent to hinder police, possession of a Class B controlled substance, assault and battery, dangerous weapon handgun, assault, dangerous weapon chemical spray, non-citizen unlawfully in the United States in possession of a firearm, and ammunition and forfeiture allegation, and unlawfully re-entering the United States after previous deportation. ERO removed Nunez from the United States to the Dominican Republic on 4 occasions: March 25, 2009, July 21st, 2015, March 6, 2019, and August 4, 2020. Nunez unlawfully re-entered the United States without being inspected, admitted, or paroled by a U.S. immigration official on at least 5 occasions. Police in Lawrence arrested Nunez November 10th, 2023 for assault and battery on a family household member, intimate partner. The next day, ERO Boston lodged an immigration detainer against Nunez. On March 29, 2024, Nunes pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts to unlawful reentry after being deported. On July 15th, the U.S. District Court for the District of Massachusetts sent Nunes to 30 months in federal prison. 39-year-old motorcycle rider killed in Taunton crash, police say. By Kevin Pavia, Taunton. Chief Edward Walsh reports that the Taunton Police Department responded to a fatal motorcycle crash Tuesday. At just after 1:45 p.m., the Taunton Police Department received reports of a single-vehicle motorcycle crash near 150 Charles F. Colton Road. The operator of the Harley-Davidson motorcycle, a 39-year-old East Taunton man, was transported by ambulance to Morton Hospital in Taunton, where he was later pronounced dead. The victim's identity is not being released pending notification of his kin. The crash is under investigation by Taunton police detectives, the Taunton Police Crash Reconstruction Unit, and the Bristol County District Attorney's Office. 7-year-old shot to death in Providence, remembered as a beautiful and caring little girl as fundraiser created. A young child that died Monday after a shooting last week is being remembered. According to police, at 7:40 p.m. Thursday, Providence police responded to Florence Street and found a 7-year-old girl shot who is in a vehicle with her family. She was in critical condition at Hasbro Children's Hospital and passed away on Monday. Through the police investigation, 2 suspects in the shooting were located on Carlton Street in Providence: 19-year-old Amari Cabrera of Providence and 26-year-old Shyam Nathaniel of Cranston. Charges included felony assault and various firearm charges. The pair are now charged with murder and were held without bail on Tuesday. The victim has been identified by family as Niall Kelly. Kelly has been described by those who knew her as a sweet, beautiful, and caring little girl who was tragically taken away too soon. According to GoFundMe fundraiser created to support the family, Niall's 4-year-old brother Iverson was regrettably present to his sister's murder. Services for Kelly have not yet been announced. Westport man arrested after allegedly driving stolen skid steer. By Kevin Piava. A local man is accused of stealing a piece of machine equipment and driving it down the road. According to Deputy Chief of Police Robert Rebello, on Saturday, Westport officers responded to a report of stolen skid steer. Robert DeMello of Horseneck Road was found by officers driving the skid steer south down Sanford Road in the northbound lane. Upon speaking with DeMello, it was determined he had stolen the skid steer along with other items he had sold for scrap. DeMello was subsequently arrested and is being charged with 1 count of larceny over $1,200. Westport man accused of creating $35,000 in fraudulent checks. By Ken Piava. A local man is accused of fraudulently withdrawing funds from a victim through checks. According to Deputy Chief of Police Robert Rebello, on Friday, the Westport Police Detective Unit concluded a 2-month-long investigation with the arrest of Timothy Croak of Cornell Road, Westport. Beginning in June of this year, Croak began passing fraudulent checks at Santander Bank in Westport. Initially, Croak created a fraudulent check with his name and address on it and made the check out for $9,500. The money was withdrawn from the victim's bank account and presented as cash to Croak. Westport detectives were able to obtain a copy of the fraudulent check from the victim. Croak attempted to pass a second fraudulent check made out to himself in the amount of $25,500, but this time the bank had placed a fraud alert on Croak's account. The money from this attempted fraudulent transaction was not transferred to Croak despite his objections. These interactions were captured on surveillance video at the bank and shared with Westport police detectives. Based on the investigation, Croak was charged with 2 counts of larceny over $1,200, 2 counts of uttering false check, 2 counts of forgery, and 1 count of larceny over $1,200 by single scheme. This is the Fall River Reporter, September 4th, 2024. The next story. Fall River environmental officers charge 34-year-old man for 3 illegal dumpings. By Kevin Pavia. Concerning an incident previously featured on Fall River Reporter, a man is facing charges after allegedly dumping trash in the reservation. According to police, on Friday, after a lengthy investigation, Fall River environmental officers charged a 34-year-old Dorchester resident with 3 counts of illegal dumping. On August 5th, environmental officer William Medeiros received information that a Dodge pickup truck had entered the reservation near Blossom Road with a large trailer filled with what appeared to be construction debris. The following day, Officer Medeiros traveled to this area and discovered a large pile of debris had been dumped in the reservation. This pile was consistent with 2 additional piles of construction debris which had been dumped on July 24th and July 29th in the general area. Over the course of this investigation, Officer Medeiros was able to develop a suspect responsible for all 3 dump locations. This individual was responsible for an ongoing renovation of a multi-family home in Fall River. A criminal summons has been requested for 3 counts of illegal dumping. Police did not release his identity due to the fact that the charges are still pending. Massachusetts brother and sister both win state lottery $25,000 a year for life. Here's how. Brother and sister William Fralick and Pamela McClure, both of Brockton, have each won a $25,000 a year for life prize in their multi-state Lucky for Life game after the first 5 numbers on their tickets matched those selected in the August 25th drawing. The siblings said that their winning numbers represent family birthdays. They claimed their prizes Friday, August 30th at Massachusetts State Lottery headquarters in Dorchester. Both Fralick and McClure chose the cash option on their prizes, each receiving a one-time payment of $390,000 before taxes. McClure has no plans for her winnings, while Fralick says he plans on putting his into savings. Fralick bought his winning ticket at Star Food Mart, 4 Hovington Ave in Brockton, while McClure bought her winning ticket at 7-Eleven, 145 North Quincy Street in Abington. Each store receives a $5,000 bonus for sale of these tickets. Lucky for Life drawings are conducted 7 nights a week. 2 Rhode Island men indicted for allegedly firing numerous shots on highway and hitting a vehicle. 2 Providence men were recently indicted by a grand jury. According to the Rhode Island Attorney General's office on Friday, the Providence County grand jury returned an indictment charging 34-year-old Jarvin Brown with 1 count of drive-by shooting, 1 count of assault with intent to murder, 1 count of committing assault with a dangerous weapon resulting in seriously bodily injury, 2 counts of discharging a firearm while committing a crime of violence, 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of carrying a pistol without a license, and 1 count of possession of more than 10 grams but less than 1 ounce of a controlled substance, methamphetamine. The Providence County grand jury also returned an indictment charging 5-year-old Enrique Miranda with 1 count of drive-by shooting, 1 count of assault with intent to murder, 1 count of committing assault with a dangerous weapon resulting in serious bodily injury, 2 counts of discharging a firearm while committing a crime of violence, 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of carrying a pistol without a license, 1 count of unlawful possession of a firearm after being convicted of a crime of violence, 1 count of violation of a domestic no-contact order, and 1 count of possession of a controlled substance, cocaine, with intent to deliver. On October 21st, 2023, members of the Rhode Island State Police Uniform Division initiated an investigation into a shooting that occurred on Route 95 North prior to exit 38 in the city of Providence. The incident was a targeted attack, according to a policeman, where the suspects fired numerous rounds into the victim's vehicle. The victim sustained 1 gunshot wound to his abdomen, and he was transported to Rhode Island with life-threatening injuries. He survived the assault. The incident was turned over to members of the Rhode Island State Police Major Crimes Unit for further investigation. Detectives were able to identify 2 of the shooting suspects as Enrique Miranda and Jarvon Brown. Both Miranda and Brown are on probation for various charges. Detectives executed 27 search warrants, which culminated in the arrests of Miranda and Brown. During the search warrant at Miranda's residence, detectives seized suspected crack cocaine, U.S. currency, and narcotics paraphernalia. During the search at Brown's residence, detectives seized suspected ecstasy, MDMA. Jarvon Brown was arraigned at 6th County District Court before Associate Judge issued $22,000 surety bail for the shooting and drug charges, but was held without bail as a probation violator. Enrique Miranda was arraigned before a Justice of the Peace at State Police Headquarters on March 28, 2024, held without bail and remanded to the Adult Correctional Institute. Miranda was re-arraigned at 6th Division Court on Friday, where he was presented as a bail violator and probation violator. For the shooting charge, he was given $50,000 with surety, but was held without bail on drug charges. Brown and Miranda scheduled to be arraigned on Wednesday in Providence City County Superior Court. Westport Animal Control warns pet owners as 2 more animals test positive for rabies, bringing 9 on the year. By Kevin Pavia. Rabies alert. Westport Animal Control has announced that 2 woodchucks tested positive for rabies on Gifford Road and Old Harbor Road. They ask that all animal owners vaccinate their animals and get their dogs licensed. Both animals that were tested showed clear signs of being ill. If you see any animals acting this way, please contact Animal Control or Westport Police at 508-636-1122 immediately. As it starts to cool down, animals will be trying to find food in time for winter. There'll be more interactions with humans and wild animals in the next coming month. Animal Control asks that if you observe a sick animal, that you do not approach it and call the necessary authorities. So far this year, they've had 9 positive cases of rabies, the vectors being woodchucks and raccoons. These 2 species are known to carry rabies. Each time a sick animal has been seen, residents have called and Animal Control has gone out and handled the animal and sent it for rabies testing. If you have any questions or concerns, please call 774-264-5129.
Thank you for listening to the Fall River Reporter, dated September 4th, 2024.